Hello and welcome to Maidens of the Spear, where we talk about Wheel of Time and we have a really good time. And today we're doing Riddhima's accepted test because we were challenged by just somebody's opinion. And we thought we might not be somebody, but we could still give our opinions.
That's right.
So let's do it. And we got a little stink stink in the chat.
Hi, little stink stink. Smelling like daisies, making the chat smell like daisies.
My favorite way for a chat to smell. Mary Lou of the Dun Ajah.
Yes.
How did you first hear about the Wheel of Time and what made you want to read it?
Well, great question. I'm glad you asked. I'm shocked you don't remember because you told me
I did?
about the Wheel of Time. It was you.
It was me all along?
It was you all along. Sarah and I have been friends for years, and I grew up loving fantasy. Huge fantasy nerd. Read all of the series. But it was kind of just like my thing. I didn't really have anybody to share it with. Love fantasy. It's a huge nerd for it. Dragons, magic, give me that. You know what I mean? And one day we were talking and Sarah was like, well, then have you read Wheel of Time? And I was like, no, I've never even heard of it. And she was like, you have to read it. And she gave me her copy of Eye of the World, which is like her copy, you know,
my copy.
That you got when you were what, 14?
14.
And I just held on to it. I literally was just like, thank you so much.
She won't give it back.
A year. Yeah, and I wouldn't give it back. You were like, give me that book. And I was like, no, I'm going to read it.
You've had it for like 3 years.
3 years? I know I had it for a year before I started.
When did you go to Australia?
I went to Australia in 2018.
Yeah, because you brought it to Australia and it's 2021.
No, I know. So I know I've had it for that long, but I mean, even before I went to Australia, I had it for like a year.
Yeah, and I kept asking her, like,
and you were like, have you read it yet? And I was like, no, leave me alone. And because I was like, you know, you first see that cover and you're like, oh boy, this is going to be dorky. Right now, I'm obsessed with the cover art. It's one of my favorite things about the whole series. Screw the new modern pretty covers that like are elegant and gorgeous.
We're going to talk about cover art. There's another question about cover art.
Okay, great. Then we'll get to it. But I was like, oh boy. And then I went to Australia on tour and I needed something to read. And I put that in my backpack. And that is how I started reading Wheel of Time. One day behind the stage, which was a giant circus tent. So I Little stink I'm reading in the chat. Team Sarah. No! Okay, I'm going to find my people, mine and Nave people. I'm going to find mine and Nave people. But yeah, we read Wheel of Time on a folding chair behind a giant circus tent in Australia. Okay, there we go, Lionheart Leah. Lionheart Leah says, that's how I say it. What's wrong with that? Great question. What is wrong with that, Sarah? Huh? Little stinks.
What's wrong with that is that it's
now we're even, right? 2 on 2, baby. Yeah. I pronounced it in the Nave. I will tell you, Lionheart Leah, hey, I don't want to break your heart or anything. It is canonically Nynaeve.
Yeah, that's the right pronunciation. We were both equally
I think
wrong.
Nynaeve makes a lot of sense, and it sounds gorgeous.
Yeah. Well.
Little Stink, how are you not a fan of the cover art? Oh, we'll talk.
I guess I will answer number 1 now.
Yes, please.
I also was a wee little fantasy nerd. I started reading Xanth by Piers Anthony when I was like 8 or 9.
Way too young because that series is not appropriate. And also Piers Anthony is like a Nazi?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. And then I like burned through, obviously I read Harry Potter. I burned through like the Discord series. Terry Pratchett is like my first true love.
Terry Pratchett raised me.
And I like read them all in middle school. And as I was leaving middle school, I was done with Discworld, unfortunately. And I was all sad and stuff. So my mom went to Barnes & Noble and asked the dude at Barnes & Noble, hey, my kid needs a new fantasy series. Well, what should they read? And he was like, I have the series for you.
I didn't
And
know you had like a Barnes and Noble guardian angel.
I did. And exactly. That series was Malazar. No, I'm just kidding. That series was The Wheel of Time. And she brought it home to me and she gave me The Eye of the World. And she was like, try this. You'll like it. And I was like, what do you know? And I didn't read it for a while. And finally I picked it up. And it took me a long time to get through The Eye of the World. But once I finished The Eye of the World, I could not stop. And I just like read the rest of the series, which at that point only went up through book 11. And I like finished the series. I finished book 11 like literally the week Robert Jordan died. I like finished it. Then I came home from school one day and my mom was like, I have some really bad news. It was heartbreaking.
It's really special though.
Spent a long time on tarvalin.net back in the day, that role play community, all sorts of fun stuff. And it was really exciting being part of like the fan theory community before the Brandon books came out.
Totally. Yeah, as a fan that came to it after all 14 books were written and published, and as an adult, right? Lionheart, hold on, I gotta stop. You are gassing me up, and I love it. Lionheart Leah says Mary Lou has only good opinions, apparently. It's crazy, but I agree. Another good opinion of mine.
It's true. Are you ready for question 2, Mary Lou?
Ready for question 2. So okay. Ready.
If you had the chance to join an Ajah in the White Tower, which would you join?
Okay, so we do have a YouTube video where we discussed what Ajah we would be. So I won't go into too much detail of it. I will say that I started that video thinking that I would be in the blue Ajah because I love politics. I love all of that nonsense. I love gossip, right? Blue Ajah is all about gossip. And but then I realized that I don't think the blue Ajah got enough attention. And I love attention. And you know who's always center stage, always on the front lines, you know it, Green Ajah, Battle Ajah. So I love, tragically, my fatal flaw, I love men. And so that's what is that but green. I think I changed over the course of that video in our discussion. I think
you'd be a good Green Ajah member.
Thank you. What would you be, Sarah?
You got some spirit. Maddie, not Maddie, Mary Lou.
That's me.
Maddie's my girlfriend.
Yes.
Mary Lou's not my girlfriend.
I'm your friend girl.
Friend girl, as my grandma would call it. Mary Lou keeps trying to imply that I'm White Ajah.
Okay.
Which is false. I'm not White Ajah.
Philosophy major.
Yeah.
Literally talks with me for fun about the existence of God and whether sheep have souls.
Okay, but White Ajah in the books don't do that shit. You know?
What do they do in the books?
Like, I'm not about, like, I feel like I'm not pragmatic enough to be White Ajah.
Oh, because you're more theoretical?
Yeah, I feel like I am, if I'm limited to the Ajahs in the Wheel of Time, I don't really like any of them. I think I might have been like Yellow Ajah and then just tried to set up like a traveling clinic as an excuse to see the world.
That's true. Like, Sarah is in law school because she's a bleeding heart liberal and she wants to like help people, which is amazing. And that's very yellow. That's very Yellow Ajah.
But to spoil our YouTube video we did about this, well, the main Ajah we think is missing is the Pink Ajah.
Pink Ajah. I would argue, I would call it the Gold Ajah.
Whatever it is, the public outreach Ajah, the entertainers Ajah,
the propaganda wing Ajah.
Yeah, well, you can call it propaganda, outreach. You can call it community relations, but these Ajah performers who go around all Gandalf style, setting off fireworks shows, and like, look, Moiraine gets the whole dang village of Emond's Field to like shut up and listen to her tell the story of Minethrin with her spinning fire staff and stuff.
And it changes the course of that.
Exactly. And that should be a whole dang Ajah.
Agreed.
That's what I would really want to be.
Totally. Totally.
Question 3. Ready?
Yes. So ready.
Let's do it. If the Black Tower had Ajahs, what would they be? And let's say like Black Tower has Ajahs going into Tarmangaidon. Like we're not going to predict after the events of the series.
Okay, going into Tarmangaidon. I mean, they'd kind of all be battle Ajah.
Yeah, a lot of battle Ajah.
Lot of battle Ajah. If they had a green, it would be friggin' green as hell. A lot of greens in there.
That's true. I like Little Stink Stinks Ajahs, the Axe Body Odor Sense Ajah, the Resting Car Engine Ajah. That's true. Like they don't have to be based
Never
on
ask
color.
for directions Ajah.
Yeah, Black Ajah basically would have like healers and warriors, and then they'd have a whole Ajah for annoying characters who were forced into the series that bother me, which would just be Andral.
Right. Which we have another YouTube video talking about.
Yes. He would be his own Ajah.
Yeah, so maybe they'd have battle Ajah and a support Ajah, maybe.
I think they would also have a construction Ajah, like they're building the Black Tower community.
Yeah, like an engineering Ajah. Yeah, a lot of them are focused on like innovation and like pushing. Yeah, so maybe a battle Ajah, support Ajah, and an engineering Ajah. That also feels very.
I think there'd be two. I think there'd be like the support class Ajah, the battle Ajah, the like architect and construction Ajah, and then there'd be a separate R&D Ajah, which would be like researching ways to make like new weaves, new magical weapons, that sort of thing.
Uh-oh, Sarah. Little Stink Stink.
Little Stink Stink.
You don't like Andral?
I don't dislike Andral.
Shirt order.
I don't dislike Andral. I was annoyed after waiting so long for book 12 that so much time was spent with this new character when I like wanted to learn more about Robert Jordan's characters.
Yeah, we came to a really good conclusion where like I liked Andral and I liked his function in the series. However, it is pretty clear that he is a, author insert character. He is Brandon Sanderson. And we both agreed that that role that Andral played should have been played by Logan.
Yeah, it means that Logan had
Logan. Was supposed to be this huge character, this interesting, and was set up to be fascinating and very interesting. And then we kind of got like no real time with him. And we spent all this time with Andral, who's like a guy I don't know or care about. And the leader of the Black Tower should have been Logan as the sort of foil to Mazrim Taim, right? And that kind of never happened. I thought that would have been a really interesting dynamic and probably should have. That would have been better storytelling, to be honest.
It all got pushed into the off page of Andral's POV chapters.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot I like about Andral. I do like, I think it would be impossible for someone like Brandon Sanderson, who is himself like a creative fantasy writer who's overflowing with ideas, and especially Brandon Sanderson specifically in the ways he likes to toy with magic systems.
Yeah.
I mean, it just wouldn't have been reasonable to expect him to like
not
write 3 massive novels and not contribute something creative. I just think the balance was off on how much time we spent with him. But that's Andral. But this isn't about Andral. This is about dun dun. Who's a character you love but would hate to meet in real life? It's okay. It's okay. Little Stink Stink. You can love Andral. I'm not against people who love Andral. I have nothing against the character per se. Little Stink Stink says Codswan.
Ooh, Codswan. Yeah, I was just thinking, I was honestly like, my first gut instinct was Nynaeve, because people bossing me around, somebody telling me what to do, puts me on edge. But honestly, I think I would grow to love her. I am a Pisces. So Sarah loves talking about horoscope stuff. Everybody talk to Sarah about horoscope stuff. Did you see that eye roll? That was a very white Ajah eye roll.
Oh my God.
But I think I would grow to love her just because she is so lovable and deeply good. Who's a character I love but would hate to meet in real life? Codswan is a great...
For similar reasons to Codswan and what you were saying about Nynaeve, I would hate to meet Egwene when she's like all Amerlin and stuff, because again, I don't respond well to authority, and she's kind of the ultimate authority. Also would hate to meet most of the Forsaken because I'm a coward and they scare me.
Love
And
those characters though.
I would hate to meet Darth Rand
Darth
because
Rand,
he's
scary.
scaly. He's scaly.
He's very scary. Um, I would hate to meet. I'm trying to think. Characters I love.
I would hate to meet in real life.
I would hate to meet in real life. Honestly, ooh, maybe
Would you get
loyal.
flushed? Little Stink Stink asks if they would get flushed if they said they were annoyed by Jesus Rand.
You would not get flushed.
No, you wouldn't get flushed.
No, that makes
Galad
sense
would
to
be
me.
annoying as hell. But
But
Lionheart
see, I
Leah,
don't love the character of Galad.
yeah. Do you love
So,
Galad?
I would hate to meet in real life. He sounds awful.
You know who I would love to meet in real life and have a fulfilling relationship with is Min.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Min would be a lot better in real life than she is in the books. I think I would love Min in real life.
Yeah.
Ooh, I have a controversial one.
Okay.
Matt.
Yeah, kind of a womanizer.
Because if I met him in real life, he'd probably hit on me, and I would be furious.
He would 100%.
It would take some time to get to know Matt, and then I'd love him, obviously. But like scoundrel Matt would probably piss me the fuck off.
He would hit on you. And the other thing about Matt is like so much of what we love about Matt is only because we have his internal narrative.
Yeah.
And like
he treats women weirdly sometimes.
He treats women weirdly, and he's like a soldier. Like that's really not my personal vibe. Lionheart Leah says that
I'm like not into gambling.
Well, I'm into gambling.
Yeah, Sarah has a weird like gambling addiction.
Lionheart Leah wants to get down with Padden Fane, which, okay, if that's what you want.
Oh, that's a character I love but would hate to meet in real life. He's so scary. The way he talks to himself, his Gollum Smeagol thing, are you kidding me? That would give me the heebie-jeebies. So scary, and I love that character deeply. He's so good. And by good, I mean very bad.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, I think we had a lot of great answers to that one.
Who's a character from another book that would make a good warder? And I'm going to end before Aragorn.
Oh, great. I don't want to talk about Aragorn. Of course he'd make a good warder.
Yeah, I mean, he's just land.
He's literally just land. He's literally the king, you know, the return of the king. I took me a second to think about this one, but I came up with a really good one.
Okay, let's hear it.
Brienne of Tarth.
Ooh, I love that.
Brienne of Tarth. She takes the oath to Catelyn. She goes to the ends of the earth to protect Sansa.
Hell yeah. She is a freaking warder.
She is a warder, essentially, but with no special powers. Yeah. Imagine Brienne with warder powers.
Yeah,
you would be unstoppable. She would be such a killer warder. Plus, female warder, so you get rid of all of that weird, male thinking that get them in trouble.
Yeah. It is, on that note, it's wild to me that the Red Ajah didn't have female warders. But anyway, that's
I think they lost the ability to because I'm going into theory. I think because the world of Wheel of Time is so gender separated and so binary in gender that they literally lost the concept that female people could be warders, right? They just were like, well, things have to balance out. So warders can only be men because magic users can only be women.
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
that's my theory.
It's a good theory, but Brienne of Tarth is a fantastic answer. I don't know that I can have a better one. Oops. Okay, character from book that would make a good warder. Lil Stink Stink says any of the main characters from Belgariad as a kick-ass warder. I haven't read Belgariad, but I believe you.
Dragon's of Turn. Young Master Harper Robinson would be a great.
Oh, sorry. We'll get to that. What series we should read? That'll be another question, and you can yell at us then. I'm trying to avoid characters who do magic themselves when I'm thinking about who would be a good warder.
Uh-huh.
Good.
I think
Little
Geralt
sing-sing.
is a really good,
Geralt's a great answer.
great answer.
Yeah. I think like Garen or any of them sword boys from League of Legends would be great. It's not a book though.
Not a book.
Captain Carrot from the Discworld series would be a fantastic warder.
Captain Carrot would be so good.
Yeah. He'd
so
be a great
good.
warder.
But so would Vimes.
Vimes would know. Yeah, the two of them would be like a great combo, like warder combo.
Great warder team.
Uh-huh.
Would love to have Vimes and Carrot as a warder team.
Lionheart Leah says Obi-Wan, and sure. Yeah, obviously. I'm kind of assuming like once they're transported into the Wheel of Time verse, they can't use their own magic. But Obi-Wan, I'm sure, would still be a good warder even without his Jedi powers.
Yeah, he's got great combat skills.
Yeah.
And he's thoughtful and good.
Oh, yeah.
Also,
and
Lionheart Leah says, I just like Ewan McGregor. Me too.
Not a warder, but Samurai Jack. I mean, not from a book, but Samurai Jack would be a fantastic warder as well.
Great warder. Great warder.
Great. Let's go to number 6. What scene from the books are you most excited to see on screen? And you have one you're excited about. Let's hear
I have one I'm excited about. This one's a little spicy.
Okay. Is it the igloo?
But as soon as I thought of it, it made me laugh so much. What?
Is it the igloo?
It is not the igloo. Ooh,
okay.
But I am excited to see the igloo. No, this one is spicy, but also hilarious. It does include Avienda.
Okay.
I am excited to see Elaine and Avienda's sister ceremony.
Oh, where they're like
weird
born.
lesbianic womb ceremony.
Oh,
God, it's so weird and so sapphic and so strange. Yeah. How hilarious would that be? In a television show.
We're gonna see what they do. I hope they lean into I hope they lean into like the psychotropia of it. But
I don't think it's gonna make it into the TV show. I think they're just gonna be like, that's weird. Cut it. But Lionheart Leah has a good one.
Yeah, Dumai's Wells. Dumai's Wells, of course. That's the Red Wedding.
That's the Red Wedding
that people are definitely looking forward to.
That's the Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think Rand walking through the crystal arches at Ruidian. Ruidian. Well, in the audiobooks they say Ruidian. The glossary I think says Roidian.
I've always said Ruideen.
But you're just a dang reader. You're making these up for yourself.
But I was obsessed with the glossary, so.
Oh, were you? Okay. Well, there you go.
I would read the glossary before I read the book.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll admit,
because it bothered me to think that I might be reading a whole book pronouncing things wrong. And then I'd get like little tidbits and be like, what the heck does that mean? You know, I'd like read it. Yeah. Or I'd read about like the knitting circle.
Yes.
The knitting circle, and I'd be like, what the heck is that?
That's a spoiler. That's a spoiler. But
I know, but I like spoiled it for myself, but was so excited to figure out what it meant. I don't know.
And Roidian.
Weird kid I am.
The visions of the Isle progressively pass and past and past, going to the Age of Legends that reveal on the past of who the Aiel are. It's so good. And every time I read it, I'm just like, so good.
Insanely good.
Lil Stink Stink says Egwene serving Elida in that scene. Their favorite scene, 100%. Yeah.
Oh, that is going to be epic. I hate using that word. Epic. #epic. But it is. It's going to be amazing. Plus, like the actress who plays Egwene, I already love her. I think she's so captivating and probably going to be really talented and great. So I am looking forward to that scene. Even though we don't have Elida yet, do we?
No, I don't think so.
At least not announced.
That whole arc of Amyrlin Egwene back in the White Tower, it's so good. Moiraine showing up in the tent at the Field of Marilor. Yes, that scene does give chills. Thank you, great Ajah sitter. It's so good.
You know what? Okay, this is a scene, but more of a setting. The ways.
The ways are going to be interesting.
The ways.
I'm not excited about the way gates though,
No,
because they look weird. And something I just learned last night from Glenn, the geek hippie, the reason the way gates look like they do in the show, where they're just like an empty archway,
right,
is apparently because Rafe.
it was too expensive.
No, he just like was on vacation in like Southeast Asia and was at a temple ruins and saw something that looked like that and was like, that's what I want the way gates to look like, even though it's like completely has nothing to do with the book or the descriptions or anyway.
Okay, it does look cool. Doesn't look like the way gates at all, but it does look cool. So I'm excited to see what the way
playing that. If they're playing that fast and loose with like things that are so carefully described like way gates, it worries me. But okay, here's another scene, less serious one, but one we might see in season 1 if they get into the Great Hunt. Rand and Lan shirtless, sword fighting on top of the tower in Fal Dara. So
don't mind if I do.
Yes.
Also, so excited for the quarterstaff scene.
Oh God, Matt!
The quarterstaff border battle. The border battle. Come on.
I could say cut Gawain entirely if not for that scene because I need to see
like cut him as a character entirely. He's so useless, but that scene is so good.
Yes. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Boom. Oh, didn't work. Okay, there we go. Favorite and least favorite book covers.
Oh man, I have all of them. So I wasn't expecting this question because I would have gotten all my books.
I'm gonna bust them out.
Okay. I mean, so listen, here's now when I can talk about the art. The reason why I didn't read the books immediately was because I thought the art looked dorky. And I mean, Lil Stinks think you're absolutely right. The proportions are so wild. Moiraine looks like
she's like 3 feet tall.
She looks like she's 3 feet tall. She looks like literally a little person compared to Lan. Even the horse looks like a toy. Like it's just so wrong. And also, this is supposed to be a 16-year-old boy. Huh?
Yes, this one.
Like whenever this artist, I forget his name, whenever he tries to do teenagers, they come up looking like swarthy, like
just
cowboys who have lived hard for decades.
Yeah.
Right?
And also Loyal's only like 7 feet tall. He's not good with proportions.
Not good with proportions or like faces or like almost anything. So I think my favorite cover because of how bad it is Lord of Chaos.
Lord of Chaos. It is so bad. Look at this. Look at this.
It's so bad. He saw the description, Rand is broad-shouldered, and was like, great, I'm going to make him 75% shoulders. And also I'm going to give him the tightest pants imaginable. Don't worry, his shirt is unbuttoned. Actually, it doesn't even have buttons. It's just cut that way. It has a random drag car in the background. And then I guess this is Moiraine. Like,
I don't know. Someone just who knows? Let's move on to the good ones. No more negativity. I agree. Lord of Chaos is awful. I mean, look, I love the covers. Okay. Lionheart Leah says Path of Daggers is really cool.
Crown of Swords is hilarious. It looks like, oh my God, it's literally Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, can we zoom in on his face? Because it's literally a like pitch perfect portrait of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. I can't zoom in on his face.
It's so
Path of Daggers is super cool. Totally agree with Lionheart Leah. The banners are perfect. The dragon banner is great. I love it.
Rand will be back.
What is even going on? Like Knife of Dreams. Like they take these boring ass scenes.
Yeah, that's like supposed to be Perrin, I think.
Yeah.
Talking to Egwene.
Freaking spoilers here in the Gathering Storm cover. Or wait, does he lose his hand in Knife of Dreams?
Also, like the drawing of Aviendha looks bad. Like it just like looks like he did it in 2 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, I really like to be positive. I like the Path of Daggers.
I don't
I
understand. I'm not
actually,
being negative. I am obsessed with these covers. It's
oh no,
part
they're
of what
great.
I
They're
love
great.
about it. But I love it
Gathering
because it's bad.
Gathering Storm sucks, says Lionheart Leah. Agreed. It's so bad. So many cool
So
things happen in these books, and then the guy is like, "What's my cover going to be?
it's
Man
gonna
standing
be
outside a
we can get a
farmhouse."
map or like hammering out a treaty. Yeah.
Oh, you
Mhm.
can be negative, little stink stick. I mean, we can shit on these covers if that's what we want to do. Um,
But that's
uh,
part of why I love them and why I refuse to have any other kind of series because they're so bad. Honestly, I think the Dragon Reborn one is really good.
I really like the composition of the Dragon Reborn
It's
cover,
actually really good. Like
and
so
this
many of
is
them are badly composed, but that one is
yeah.
composed super well. I love it. I love the way it like wraps
It,
around the corner and you can see the like
mhm.
Guardians of the Stone
And this is how I
coming up.
imagine that scene for
It's
sure.
exactly how I imagine the scene. I think the columns look really cool. They actually kind of look like teenagers a little bit. Not really, but so I like the Dragon Reborn is probably my
Um,
actual favorite.
and
But
I
my
love the Eye
heart
of the World
favorite
cover.
is Lord of Chaos.
I would get a tattoo of the Eye of the World cover. Um, Big Bad Hat asks if that is the house from Knives Out. I think you're referring to the Gathering Storm book cover. Yeah,
Looks
yeah,
like it.
looks
Also
like
looks like the house from Psycho. Like it looks like the
just a random house. What is this
yeah.
window? What is going on here?
Yeah, it's like
Anyway,
not an interesting scene either. I remember this scene and just being like, really? Okay.
oh, but have you seen the Japanese covers of the Wheel of Time?
No.
These are sick.
Yo, that
Like, look at
looks.
this, like Brigida Silverbow
Whoa.
shit. Um, there is some like Lan and Nynaeve.
Oh my God. These are gorgeous, but also like feel accurate. That looks like a
Yeah,
moraine. Ah, sick.
fucking Rand Althor much. The
That's how
Japanese
I
covers
totally
are
see that.
so
Oh
good.
man, I've never seen these before. These are so cool.
Yeah, they're so much better. Um, so the Japanese version was released much more like by chapter, by chunk. So there's like 72 covers or something.
That makes sense. More like
Um,
manga style.
and they're so good. And this is a little teaser for something we'll talk about in the future. But look at that axe.
Look at
Just
that
remember
axe.
what that axe looks like.
What's the shape of that axe? Kind of looks like a half moon.
Sort of like a half moon. That
Sort of
looks like a half moon.
Interesting, like a real axe would be. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway, we can move on from the Japanese covers. We should just do a whole episode where we go through every single one
I would love
because,
to. They look
oh
so
my
cool.
God,
Oh my God, look at that
they're
Aiel.
so good.
That is
Just like
so
the
cool.
composition is so interesting. And anyway, let's get back to the challenge. What the heck? What's going on here?
Very scary.
Very scary. Let's
Looks
get
like
back.
Shadar Logoth and Matt with his ruby
That's
dagger.
right. Eye of the World. Yep. I think you're right. Okay.
Scary.
So good. Back to the questions at hand.
What's
boom.
next?
What's a location in the Wheel of Time you would most want to visit?
The Vagina Island itself. The
Tar
Vagiland.
Valon, baby.
I want to go to Tar Valon. I want to be there. I mean, the Ogier, that's supposed to be like their crowning glory, their greatest achievement
Oh.
in building
Yeah.
was Tar Valon.
Why
so
are you so small?
I want to see it.
It goes from
Why
this
is
like
it so small?
big ass picture to a small little guy.
View file. Click view file. See what happens.
I did it.
Oh.
I did it.
Okay. Well, not
anyway,
helpful.
Two Rivers would be beautiful. Lionheart Leah says Radian, and totally agreed.
Totally agreed. Ruidian
Just
would be
like-
so cool. And I want to see
especially
the Tree
when-
of Life.
After Rand like brings the water from the ground and the fountains are all going again, and that would be so
Amazing.
beautiful. The Two Rivers would be beautiful.
Of course.
I would just love to live in the world of the Wheel of Time.
I know, it'd be
Let's look at a
sick.
map. Yeah.
Lionheart Leah says, I always imagined Camelin looking quite nice. I agree.
Yes.
I bet it's like a beautiful
Hanging out
Renaissance
here
city.
in Camelin. I would love to see the White Bridge.
I'd
In my
love to see the White Bridge.
homebrew D&D world, I have a city called Icebridge, where there is a magical bridge that looks like it's made of ice that no one can explain from an age-long past, which might have been inspired by a little something.
No, could have been.
Yeah, but Tarvalin, I mean, is supposed to be the most beautiful. In Ogier Grove, I would love to just see any
Would
of
love to
them.
see that. Yeah, for me, it's definitely got to be the Vigilant itself, Tarvalin.
I don't need to be in the ways. Not as long as Machin Shin is in there.
Nothing. No, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Number 9. Boom. If you could make your own ter'angreal, what would it look like and what would it do? And Mary Lou, to give you a chance to think about this. So Mary Lou and I have been designing a Wheel of Time tabletop role-playing game called Dice to Die. And this is one of the things you can do in the game. And we were doing a play test yesterday with our friend Vic, who has never read the series. And she came up with a new ter'angreal for herself that looks like a tiny, like caution floors wet folding cone thing. And it glows orange when shadows spawn are near. So
very creative.
That was her ter'angreal.
Love that.
And then, of course, if I could have any ter'angreal that exists in the series, I'd be tempted to take that red rod.
You're crazy.
Do you know the red rod?
I think. Am I remembering right?
The red rod is the big, sort of weirdly soft red rod that Elaine finds.
Yeah.
And when she channels fire into it, she like passes out and everyone refuses to tell her what happened afterwards, but they can't hide their laughter.
God, it's so funny.
Very funny. One of those like Teleron Rio ter'angreal will be dope too, but we're making a new ter'angreal.
Making a new ter'angreal. It could be just because I'm hungry right now, but I would want to make a ter'angreal that when you held it, whatever you ate tasted like the most delicious meal you've had in your entire life. So you could be eating a bowl of white rice and it tasted like just the most gorgeous meal ever. So you could eat really healthy and it would still taste like a friggin' Big Mac, you know?
I'd love to hear some ideas from the chat, but Lionheart Leah just wants that Dream World ter'angreal. I agree, that would be dope.
It would be sick.
I am, of course, a dirty tran, and as a tran, by which I mean a trans woman, I am obligated to say I would like a shape-shifting ter'angreal.
Sure.
But barring a shape-shifting ter'angreal, I would love like a teleportation ter'angreal.
Oh, cool.
Or a ter'angreal that lets me travel from this age to the third age and hang out with my buddies in the Wheel of Time.
That rocks. What would it look like? I know what mine would look like.
Okay,
mine would be made of gold, and it would be 2 arches connected, like a pair of golden arches.
Okay. Oh yeah, like this, I think this. I have a visual reference I can pull up.
Yeah, and it just and it just gives you feelings of like comfort.
Maybe like this. Maybe
that's exactly what it would look like.
This is what it would look like here. Yeah,
that's what my ter'angreal would look like.
Lil Stink Stink says, as Lil Stink Stink, they would want a toilet that transported innocent poops to a nice safe river somewhere, which totally fitting. And out of character, she would want one that she can hold that neutralizes her emotions while recollecting things that allow her to process memories without reliving trauma.
That's beautiful.
It's very beautiful. And of course, it's not too deep.
Not too deep.
No, that would be incredibly powerful. It's exactly the kind of
talent
thing.
And we could make ter'angreal. That sounds like a very useful, wonderful ter'angreal. They go through a lot of trauma in these books.
That's one of the theories for what the 3 arches that they use in the test to raise women to the shawl might have been for in the Age of Legends.
Processing trauma
Yeah.
as a kind of
Uh,
therapy. Wow.
yeah. And Great Aja Sitter says that she would love something that aided traveling, and I totally agree. Um, and as far as
Next,
what mine
flying
would look
ducks.
like, if I had a shape-shifting ter'angreal, it would look like basically like what would it look like? It would be a little statue of I'm gonna say this is one that lets you swap genders, and
Cool.
specifically, and if you are currently like existing as a man, then the little figurine shows like a woman, and if you use it to swap to a woman, then it like shifts in inverse and looks like a man, and it basically like is always kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum from you, and you can use it to move yourself wherever you want on that spectrum, and it
Love
follows
that.
you around. And a traveling ter'angreal, I think, would look like, what would a traveling ter'angreal look like? I
Plane
think it would.
ticket.
I think it would be cool to have. Well, a plane ticket would be funny, um, like a snow globe, but like as you focus in on it, it's like an empty snow globe. But
Oh,
as
you
you
start
focus
to
in
you're
on it,
looking
exactly,
through the snowflakes. What do you see there?
like where you want to be, and then just like you get sucked in, and then you're like there.
Love
Um,
that. That's
yeah.
so cool. I like Lionheart's comment, a ter'angreal, but it's just a karaoke machine.
I love that. That would blow people's
And you
minds
sound
in the third inning.
amazing whenever you sing into it. You just sound gorgeous, incredible. Celine Dion.
Yes.
Great ter'angreal.
Let us move on. This is the final question. What's another book or series you'd think Wheel of Time fans would like? And I know one of Lil Stink Stink's answers. Belgariad.
I don't know that one. I'm going to Google it right now. Belgariad. I have two, and they're both obvious, but ooh, cool, the Belgariad. Awesome.
What are your two?
My two are most obvious. The Discworld series, Terry Pratchett. If you haven't read it, if you love Wheel of Time for the world building and character development, there almost is no better world building or character development than Discworld. It is so good. It's a totally different vibe, right? It's comedic, but it's still discussing really serious topics. Terry Pratchett, I have good politics because I read Terry Pratchett.
Discworld was so formative for
so
both
formative
of us,
for me as a human being, as a person.
As a human, as like a sense of comedy, like so much of that came from Terry Pratchett.
Right.
And
funny things can also talk about death and the afterlife and what it means to be a good person and a person in the world and gray areas. And it can still be funny as hell.
It's so good.
So good.
And
so I think that one's obvious because I think if you're reading Wheel of Time, you probably already read Terry Pratchett.
Yeah.
And so here's my other one that's very obvious because it's also an incredibly popular fantasy series, but also incredibly different, is the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. N.K. Jemisin is, I think, the best fantasy writer out there right now. She's so creative, so brilliant, such a good writer. Lil Stinky, you gotta read Terry Pratchett.
You haven't read Terry Pratchett? Oh, it's the best.
Lionheart loves the Broken Earth trilogy.
So
yes. The fifth season hooked me, and then the next two books really both leveled up and satisfied me. I just think she's a really, really good storyteller. Really, really interesting worlds, really interesting magic systems. That's my favorite of her series, though she has several series. They're usually trilogies, or I think she has a couple that are like 2 books or maybe more than that. So they're shorter series, but they're all really different and really interesting. Love N.K. Jemisin.
Yeah. And before I answer, I want to say, first of all, fuck you, Mary Lou, for stealing Discworld. That was going to be mine.
Sorry, bitch.
And second of all, I want to make it clear, we aren't booktubers.
No.
We are wote-tubers.
Wote-tubers.
And we don't claim to be masters of the broader fantasy genre or any such thing.
More of a fan than an expert.
Yeah, we love the Wheel of Time. And I will admit, like, I'm on my 5th reread of the Wheel of Time, and
I'm on my
that
second.
comes at the expense of reading some other series. But other series I would recommend, obviously, full-heartedly second, Discworld. And then, what's a good one?
Sorry, I stole yours.
Obviously, it's okay. Obviously, if you like Wheel of Time, you've probably also tried some of Brandon Sanderson's series.
Yeah.
Mistborn is a nice, fun read. Elantris is a good first starter novel. I actually really like his Reckoners series. Even it's YA, but it's really fun and easy. If you're just like, if something
I know one that you should suggest.
What should I suggest?
Our girl Ursula.
I was going to suggest Ursula Le Guin, but I haven't read a ton of Ursula Le Guin. I loved The Left Hand of Darkness.
Yeah. I loved Left Hand of Darkness and what's the other one? It starts with an A. Sorry, it's out of my mind. But on my list, speaking of other series we want to read, is the Wizards of Earthsea series by Ursula.
Yeah, those are great. Little Sting says, "Oh sure, people are gonna finish Mistborn and be like a puddle of sobbing sads and be like, Sarah said this would be fun." Look, not my fault.
No,
I take
you can blame it on us, but it is not our fault.
It is fun. I really love the magic system in Mistborn. It's really fun and interesting. I have my. This is not a Mistborn channel. Moving on. Number 11.
How many questions are there?
This is the last one. Let's tag other woke creators. And I don't know whom to tag.
Has Critter done it? Has Critter done this challenge
Critter
already?
has been tagged by somebody, but we will tag Critter XD.
I want to tag Critter XD.
Lil Stink, have you done this challenge?
Lesby Nerdy. Definitely will tag Lesby Nerdy.
I assume Daniel Green has done this. Lil Stink hasn't done this challenge. We're tagging Lil Stink.
Great Ajah Sitter. If you're still out there, we're tagging you.
Yep.
We're tagging you, girl.
We're
Great
tagging all
Ajah
you
Sitter.
peeps. Yes.
Yes, Lil Stink. I do believe you're a woke creator.
Yep, you are a woke creator, of course.
Lionheart. I don't know the Powder Mage trilogy, but that sounds very cool.
Sounds interesting. Fantastic. Oh, Lil Stink passed out. Well, that's okay because that was the last question, so they're not going to miss any more of these questions. But thank you so much, Just Some Bodhi's Opinion, Bodhi at Just Some Bodhi's Opinion for tagging us. This was super fun, and thank you, Riddhima, for putting together this list of the accepted test. I look forward to hearing what Lil Stink and Great Ajah Sitter and Lionheart Leah have to say when they're forced to do it themselves, even though we heard a lot of their answers here, and Lesby Nerdy as well. We look forward to hearing your answers. This has been Maidens of the Spear, where we talk about the Wheel of Time, and we have a really good time.
A really good time.